Hey everyone, Chaps here, and welcome to day 9 of our New Zealand vacation recap. As a quick reminder, all the other days and some background information are linked down below. And also, I'll go ahead and remind people that I am recording these when I am back in the States, but I wrote each of these scripts basically the evening or night of each day, so it's sort of framed from the time frame of when I was actually in New Zealand. Alright, so today is our last full day in the island, or the North Island, I guess, and we scheduled it as a buffer day. Basically, it's in case the weather was bad yesterday, then we would do our big hike today. But, hey, we did the hike yesterday, go catch that video. So today was a backup day for us. When we woke up, we still weren't sure what we were going to do for the day, so we went ahead and did a little bit of research. The two main things on our list were the Waitomo Geothermal Wonderland and the Waitomo Caves. The Geothermal Wonderland was originally planned for a couple days ago when we were in Rotorua, but they were actually closed that day of the week. It had some geothermal walking trails and the Lady Knox geyser. The geothermal stuff looked pretty cool, but it was pretty similar to what we had already seen, so the geyser would have been nice, but after Tapuia, we didn't really think this one was too necessary, so the Waitomo Caves it was. The drive was about 2 hours and was quite different from most of our drives so far. For the most part, it was rain, but the real difference was the natural features. There weren't as many rolling green hills like we had seen previously. I mean, seriously, everything looked like the Shire for most of our previous drives. This one reminded me more of Pennsylvania or northwestern New York. Sort of small mountains but large rolling hills, but not the bright artificial green stuff. Our cave tour departed at 12:50, and there were probably close to 30 people in our group, maybe slightly less. Also, I'm going to say they did not want photography for most of this thing, so I'll throw up some stock images, but unfortunately I don't really have too many good shots here. After the walk to the entrance and the briefing, it was time to begin around 1 p.m. The tour started with a 30-minute walk through the cave. We didn't really go too deep compared to some other caves that I've visited in the past. Most of the time was spent stopped listening to the guide talk about stuff. The cave itself was pretty cool, but it just wasn't anything special as far as caves go. So then it's around 1:30, 30 minutes into the tour, we arrived at the boat. After about 5 minutes of loading people onto the boat, we headed out, and it was pitch black at this point. You couldn't see anything, and we were told to remain silent. The guide stood at the front of the boat and used a series of ropes, sort of to pull us along the cavern, along this path. So by this point, you might be wondering why we visited the cave. Well, the reason are glowworms. There's this large chamber of glowworms that they pulled us into. Unfortunately, like I said, no photography was allowed, so, it would disturb the worms, right? So, here's some stock photos, I guess, I'll try and edit in. The ceiling was completely lit up by these worms. The right side, I guess, is where we would exit, so there weren't any worms there. The left side was all blank. Apparently, that's typically also all filled up with these glowing worms, but the recent cyclone that passed through had washed them off, unfortunately, so we didn't get to see as many. But still, the ones we saw, there were a ton on the ceiling, and the glow was cool, but the designs and patterns of how they were all arranged was really cool. Sadly, this only lasted about 5 minutes until we worked our way to the exit. We had expected a larger portion of our tour to be in the boat and around the worms and, see multiple chambers or something. Overall, I'd say the experience was okay. If you've never seen a cave before, maybe it would be cool. The glowworms were nice, but short-lived. If you're in that area, I would recommend checking it out. It wasn't that expensive and it's not super time-consuming. But would I recommend driving 2 hours out of your way to go do that and then drive 2 hours back? I can't really recommend doing that. I'll say Caroline thought it was worth it, but she also wasn't the one driving. On the way back, we stopped by Tawhai Pools, also known as Gollum's Pool. This is a set of falls and pools that you see Gollum in from Lord of the Rings. I think it's where he's eating a fish in the pool. It was a very short 5-minute walk. The waterfalls and pools were very, very nice. Excellent picture opportunities, and there were a few people swimming. They said the water was very cold. Being this is only a 5-minute walk, and the views are so nice, this one is very easy to recommend if you're in that Tongariro area. This is maybe 15-20 minutes down the road from where we started our hike the previous day. So it's right in that area, super easy hike, awesome views. Upon arriving back at the hotel, it was dinner time, so we heated up our leftover Chinese food and started making plans for tomorrow. The plan for tomorrow is to fly from the North Island to the South Island. It's funny planning stuff on Google Maps. We looked at the airport in Topah, which I believe is actually how you pronounce this town. The airport terminal was actually hard to find. Like, Google Maps told us where it was, sorta, I guess. But actually seeing which building we need to go to was actually really hard to find. Also, being we were flying the next day, we went ahead and rearranged our suitcases to make them more, flight compliant. So there we go. 9 days down, 7 to go, and this was our last full day on the North Island. Tomorrow we're going to go check out a waterfall, explore Topah, and fly down to the South Island. Go ahead and subscribe and turn on those notifications so that you don't miss that. I'll say, future chaps talking now, that was a very memorable day, not for a great reason. So, if you found this video enjoyable, go ahead and consider hitting that like button if you think we earned it. If you have any questions, as usual, down in the comments, I'll try and answer anything, or just hit me up on Twitter and I'll answer on there. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.